I'll tell you my vote.
They're all like pulled up on this yacht, like going crazy.
CINCO, MILLONES, CINCO, MILLONES. Alright, we're back. We're back on island time.
Let's go.
Once again, 559.
781.
Ava and Ivy.
Yeah.
That's us. Okay. So let's tell you about our little journey before we actually made it to the island, right? So we were in a hotel, and then the next morning we were woken up at 4 a.m. And they shuttled us to the airport, went through security, and then we find out that we're on our own plane, which was like the coolest thing ever.
It was like all 60 of us and Carl.
Yeah.
It was so random.
Yeah. So once we got on the plane, how long was the plane ride? Probably like 4 hours.
Yeah, I think it was like 5 hours.
Yeah, 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah.
And I remember at one point I asked like one of the wranglers in the hotel, I was like, so do you know the time change in Panama? And they're like, I can't tell you that. I was like, what? Why can't Why can't I know? And then it just ended up just being an hour behind, I think. Like us. So
I don't think I even knew that.
Yeah. So it's just like it wasn't that much of a time change. So once we landed, the first thing I remember is like when we stepped off the plane, the workers were videoing us.
Yeah, there were people just like taking pictures of us.
Like I guess they thought like we were, I mean, are we famous? I don't know. I mean, I guess they just thought, I don't know what they were told actually, but I remember when we first stepped off the door, there was one lady like kind of greeting us, and she was holding her phone like down here and had like a clipboard in her hand, and I was like, I can tell that you're recording.
That was so crazy.
So funny.
And like, so we were wearing our like regular clothes, like our everyday kind of clothes, and so we weren't in our uniform or anything, but we still had on these little bracelets with the MrBeast logo on it. Yeah. But yeah, we just hopped off the plane and people were taking pictures of us and videoing us.
I felt famous.
I know, I did too.
And then we went through like security. We got shuttled to a hotel, and like at this point, I thought we were gonna be sequestered again, and we weren't gonna be allowed like to walk around or anything. And when we arrived, dude, the hotel looked so sick. It
was in the middle of Panama.
Yeah.
And it was so nice.
Right on the coast too. Like the ocean was right next to the hotel. And so we went in, and they're like, okay, you have 2 hours to explore. And we were like, let's go. Like we can do whatever we want. And the first thing we found out was that there was an infinity pool. So I was like, I know what I'm doing. I'm getting my luggage, get my bathing suit, and going to the pool. And pretty much everyone else had the same idea. Like everyone, we all just ended up meeting at the pool.
I remember I didn't bring a bathing suit to the whole thing. I don't know why. And so I literally was swimming in my clothes. I like didn't have anything. And then while we were swimming, like people kept coming up to us and they'd be like, MrBeast. Like talking about like MrBeast stuff, and we had to act like we were like, I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm pretty sure we said like we were a soccer team to someone.
Yeah, that was like when we were doing our costume. Oh my gosh, yeah, because it was like people were coming and just videoing us, and they'd be like, MrBeast, like Beast Games in Panama, and like recording us, and we were like, what?
Yeah.
And then there was like one guy, I feel like he was like around our age, and he came up and he's like, oh, I know you're here for Beast Games, and I think it was Nate or someone talking to him, and they're like, oh, I don't know what you're talking about, like who's that? And he was like, it's literally on your like wrist. Like I literally know what you're doing. And we're like, what? Like I don't know.
We don't know what
you're talking about.
We're just here on a vacation with our soccer team.
Right. And then we were like all gathered in the lobby, like getting ready for a costume fitting. And then that's when a guy came up and he was like, what are you filming? He's like, I'm guessing you're all like a film, like you're all like actors or whatever. And Esteban was like, no, we're just like a soccer team. And the guy was like, what? Because it's like all different ages, like we just did not look like a group that should all be together. And then he was like, y'all are a soccer team? And Esteban's like, yeah, we're from America, like we're really good. And then the guy was like, what? And he was like, yeah. And then he was like, well, good luck, whatever you're doing here.
I remember that.
And then Esteban played it off so well, but it was like, it was just so funny because everybody was like so confused about what we were doing.
So in the pool, it was literally like almost all of us. And I remember we got a picture, which I really want. Frida took a picture of all of us, and I hope we get that. And then me, you, and David got out early because it was kind of cold. Like it was pretty windy, and the pool was not heated. So we were like, you know what? Let's just go explore the hotel.
Yeah. And that was like the first time me and you like hung out really, and like David too. I had never like really talked to him, and then we just like were exploring the hotel, and like it was so fun.
Yeah, because literally I didn't know David before the helicopters, and that's when we first met, like, on the plane,
right?
And then we got really close with him,
mm-hmm.
and we always had like the mutual connections, but never really,
right,
like fully were in it together. And then this was the point where we just like pretty much were together for the rest of the show.
Right? No, literally, yeah.
So we got out, just explored the hotel, and then we actually ended up getting a little lost, and we somehow ended up in like another, like an apartment complex that was like attached to the hotel, and then we couldn't figure out how to get back to the pool. And I remember at one point we were on an elevator with like 2 other people. I was like, and I asked them like, do you know how to get to the pool? And they just like looked at me and they're like, no. And eventually we got to a floor and got off, and like there was a door, but we didn't know where it led to, and David was like the only one that was like confident enough to go open it. And he opens it and it led back to the hotel. We're like, oh, thank God.
No, we made David do like everything. We're like, go look. I was so scared we were gonna get in trouble for like walking around. Why would we have gotten in trouble for that? But like, I was so freaked out. I was like, oh my gosh, I don't want to get eliminated in Panama. But that was so fun. Yeah, and we watched sunset from like the stairs. We were up really high. Like really high. Do you remember? I was like tweaking. Y'all were like looking over the edge, and I was like 5 feet back. I was like, I'm good. Like just sitting right here. Yeah, and we wanted to see the sunset because we remembered that Frida said to me like the night before, Panama is like rated #1 sunset in the world. So I was like, we had to see it, and we ended up seeing it. And it was really pretty. It was, especially from where we were at. And then we like went back to our rooms. I showered real quick, and then we got ready for dinner. Mm-hmm. And we had like dinner outside the hotel, super nice, and it was like a huge buffet style. The food was pretty good, and I remember I sat with like, it was me, David, Jeremy, and Gage, and we were just having like the randomest conversations. And then they told us that they were pulling us for fittings, but to wait like in the dining area. And then we ended up being like the last group to get called up. Because we were told like go when you want. So then me, JC, Corn, Emma, like all of us, like just like went up to like the fitting area. Yeah, me and David tried to go up at one point, and they were like, "No, you have to wait here." We were like, "Okay." So then we just like clown the dessert table and just like chill down there. And we were literally the last people to get fitted for that. But the other fitting was just for like our shorts and then the t-shirts we got on the island. Yeah. And then I guess we went to sleep, and the next morning we had to wake up pretty early. Yeah. Someone didn't wake up. Oh my god, I get so triggered thinking about this because we don't have our phones. My room didn't have an alarm clock, and so the only way to tell time was the TV stayed on all the time, and it said the current time. And so they were like, at 4:45, we're leaving. Like the bus is leaving for wherever we were going, and so I had like called the front desk. Or wait. Yeah, no, I'd called. They were like, make sure you schedule your wake-up call. And, like, just in case, like, have a second one. And so I was like, oh, like, can you wake me up at, like, 4? And they're like, yeah, we have you down for a wake-up call at 4. And then I think they already had, like, another one scheduled, too. And then I woke up at 5 a.m. to someone banging on my door. And they're like, everybody's leaving. Like, we gotta go right now. And I was like, what? I was like, literally my room was like a mess. Like I was like not ready at all, and I like literally just threw all my stuff in a bag, threw my uniform on. I don't even know what was happening with my hair. Like I'd fallen asleep with it wet, so it was like doing crazy things. And then I was like, oh my gosh, I'm about to be on television like this. I was like, this is so bad. And I was like tweaking, and I like got on the bus, and everyone was like, there you are. And I was like, I had no way to wake up. I had no way to wake up. Like, because I didn't get any of my calls. I was like, kidding. Yeah, they definitely, that was like their fault that they didn't call. Yeah, because I was like so embarrassed. Yeah, I remember I got a call, but I forget what time I scheduled it for, but they called me like 20 minutes after, so they were definitely like so delayed. And then they forgot certain people, because there were other people too that didn't wake up or like didn't get a call. And so bus 1 left, I remember, and then I was on bus 2, and we waited for Ivy, and then I think Piper, and I think someone else too. It was one of the brothers. I think it was Hasm. Oh, okay. That like, it was either Hasm or Kareem. I can't remember. But yeah, so we waited for them to get there, and then they shuttled us to the ferry, right? Yes. Yeah. So then we didn't know where we were going. So then we found out we were going on a ferry, and they loaded us all on, and we just started sailing. Yeah. We just started sailing, not knowing where we were going. Right. It ended up being like
2.5 to 3 hours
It was
long.
so long. And I remember, like, it was freezing, which I don't know if it was just where I was sitting, but I was sitting next to Lyric, and we were like right. Oh wait, you were behind me.
Right
oh my gosh,
you,
yeah. We were so cooked. And I remember I just like fully had like my shirt, and like I was like,
it's because we were right under that AC unit.
Yeah,
like it was so cold. So I did the same thing. I was like tucked in and like tucked my head down, and like I was trying to sleep, and then one of the ferry worker guys came up to me. He was like, "You cold?" Like he didn't really speak English. He said, "You cold?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "Do you want?" And like went like that. I was like, "Yeah, yes, like please." And then he gave me a like zip up jacket, and I like
so nice.
it was so nice. I like put it over my head. I think I fell asleep.
Right.
So and then once we like got closer, we like started passing islands and stuff. We were like, "Yo, that's definitely our island." And we were like, "No, that's our island." And then none of those ended up being our island.
And then we saw like whales and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, because there was whale season in Panama, so that was super, super cool.
So cool.
Once we finally pulled up to the island that was our island, I'm pretty sure that's when they loaded us on the red boat, right? And then they took us on the island.
Or they took us on a red boat to the yacht.
Oh, yeah.
And then we were all, like, pulled up on this yacht, like, going crazy. And then I remember, I just remember being on the top of the yacht, and we're, like, overlooking stuff. And then Jimmy pulled up. Like, it was just Jimmy and, like, some of, like, the crew members pulled up in a different boat. And some of us were like, "Oh my gosh, MrBeast is here!" Like, I've always wanted to meet that guy. And we were just, like, being so obnoxious because we've, like, been with him, like, 2 weeks now. And so everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, MrBeast is on like, we're on a yacht with MrBeast." And it was, like, we were, like, tweaking. And then we had to film, like, the intro, like, he was like, "Someone's gonna win that island."
Yeah. The yacht was crazy. I was not expecting to actually, go on the yacht. And then we ended up spending so much time on the yacht.
Yeah, we spent days on the yacht.
So once we did like the intro and stuff, then they all took us to the island to explore it.
Yeah.
And they're like, "This is the island that someone's gonna win." But they didn't really tell us the gist. And then once we started exploring, we only saw 10 beds, like 10 little bungalows with beds. Yeah. We were like, "What does this mean? Like, is everyone gonna get eliminated besides 10 people?"
That's what I thought. They're about to eliminate 50 of us right now.
Yeah, that's what was going through my head. And then Jimmy started like passing around like the deed to the island, and like and I held it. I was like, "This is mine."
Oh my gosh. Yeah, no, I remember me and Esteban were holding it at one point, and Jimmy was like, "Oh, are you gonna win the island?" And then we were like, "Yeah, like one of us is gonna win this island." And he's like, "Or you'll get eliminated." And we were like, "Bruh." Like, crap.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was so fun, like walking around the island and stuff.
And then they gathered us, and then he told us the rules, and like, so the order we were in were based on the helicopters that we got on. And then he went down the row and asked if we wanted to compete for the island, right? So either you're competing for the island or getting a luxury stay on another island, right? And I was like,
yeah, guaranteed top 50.
I think I'm gonna stay in the top 50 and just enjoy my time here in Panama.
Yeah.
Like, hey,
right.
When am I ever gonna be here again?
Oh my gosh.
So I remember when he came up to me, because Larrick and Timothy were both right next to me, and so they both went and said yes and competed for the island. And then when Jimmy came to me, I don't think that was it. I said, "I don't need it." And he's like, "You don't need an island?" And I was like, "Nah." And then I just walked away because I didn't know what to say.
Right.
Like when he was coming down the line, I was like trying to prepare something to say. I was like, whatever comes to my mind, I'm just gonna say it and then dip. So,
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
No, it was because I was at the very end of the line.
I remember that. And
so I remember seeing everybody do it. And I remember it got to Esteban, and like me and him were so close at this point. So I was like, "Esteban, like please don't do it," because he had told me earlier. He's like, "I think I might fight," and I was like, "No." I was like, "Esteban, don't do it," because like you knew if you fought for the island, like you have a 1 in 10 chance, or you have a 9 in 10 chance of going home, 1 in 10 chance of maybe staying in the game. And so I was like, to me, that didn't feel worth it. But he was like, "I think I'm gonna do it," and I saw him flip his coin, and I was like, that coin, like he flipped that coin for everything. I was like, "Don't do it." And then it like landed on going to fight for the island, and I was like, bro, I was like, Esteban. And then like when it got to me, I remember Jimmy was like, "Are you gonna fight for the island?" And I was like, "Oh heck no." I was like, "That could not be me." And he was like, "Actually, it could be you. That's like why I'm asking." And I was like, "Oh." And then Carl and Mac were like, "Oh, this could be like Ivy's island. Like you could have your own island." And I was like, heck no. I was like, it isn't gonna be me. I was like, no shot. And then I like ran back to the ferry, and everyone was doing like the "CINCO MILLONES" chants, which Colton came up with that, and it was like stuck in all of our heads like the whole game.
Dude,
I hope it makes it
so
to the show.
It has to, dude.
I really hope it does.
We did it so many times. Like every time we were hyped, we were just like "CINCO MILLONES, CINCO MILLONES." That was so funny.
So awesome.
Oh, and I also forgot, before we like even said yes or no, I was like standing by the ocean, just like, I don't know what I was doing.
Oh, wait.
But then
because we're standing next to each other, I know exactly what you're saying.
like when Mac came out.
He's like, "Oh, race you."
Yeah.
So funny.
Yeah. Yeah, we just started having a conversation with Mac, and he was like, I bet none of you can beat me to the 5 million.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, I think I could, but I know your history, so
Right.
probably not. And then I remember Queen was like, I'll do it.
Oh my gosh.
Like, you don't know what
Yeah,
what
you
he
don't know.
can do.
Yeah, you don't know what you just signed up for.
And then someone said like, "Oh, you're mic'd up" to Matt. He was like, "Oh, we'll save it for later then," or something.
Oh my gosh.
And then
and then I know exactly.
Oh my god. I'll save
yeah.
it for when we get to that point in time.
But I remember too when we were on the island. Carl had brought like me like a hermit crab or something, and I was like, "Yo," like whatever. And then someone handed me a little baby hermit crab, and I was like, "Carl," and then I like gave him it, and he put it in his pocket. It was just so fun.
Yeah, and he had, remember their vest had like
they
so
had, like,
many
cargo
pockets.
vest.
Like, what was that?
Like, what?
And we were like, so what are you holding in there? He's like, there's nothing but a
Yeah.
hermit crab in
Yeah.
here now. Oh, that was so funny. So yeah, after we like people said yes or no to the island, ended up being only 9 people that wanted to go for it. And so they sent us to our island, our luxury island. Dude, getting there was so cool. Like actually seeing how much stuff was there, and it was like a fully built out like villa. It was so cool. They had a smoothie bar right in the front.
And ice cream.
Yeah, a little ice cream thing, and then like you run up and see all the little villas. And then I remember like one of the first things we saw was like the main like sitting like eating area, and there was a huge screen, and everyone was like,
and it had just like the MrBeast logo on it. And we were like, what's happening?
Yeah, like, and then we were like, oh my gosh, are we gonna get to watch them? Like, are we gonna get to watch them compete? Turns out we did get to watch them compete, but it was so fun watching them. And the first thing that they did was the Navy SEALs, right?
Yeah, and we got taken back to the yacht.
Oh my gosh,
we saw like the intro to it where they were like, where Jimmy was like, "You're gonna be playing hide and seek," and he's like, "But I brought in a guest." And then I remember when he said that, seeing the helicopter go past our island and being like, just like following it, and then seeing them pull up in the live stream. That was like so cool,
so sick. And when one of them did a backflip out of the helicopter into the water, and then
my god!
And then all the girls were like, "Whoa!"
We're all like,
ooh,
we're like losing our minds. We're like, "Get me on that island!"
Yeah. Oh, that was so funny.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I forgot they took us back to the yacht.
And then when we got back to the luxury island, that's when Kelly was like found.
Yeah.
And so she got like eliminated.
Yeah. After that day, that was the only challenge that they did that day because it started to get dark. And so we were just chilling on the island.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure we had the dance party.
Yeah, we had a dance party. We watched a movie, I think, that night too, right?
Yeah, we watched White Chicks, I think.
White Chicks, yeah. And so that was so fun because it felt like we were just so chilled out. Like we didn't have to worry about anything. Yeah. So we were just like all hanging out, getting to know each other better. They had professional chefs there, like cooking us food. So our food was insane. We're eating ice cream nonstop. We had snacks all the time. Like we were living life. Like we were doing so well. It
was so crazy, and like we felt so relaxed, but at the same time, we were all like, "Is this like are we really not going to do any challenges?"
Yeah,
like,
it was,
there's always the thought in the back of your mind is like, maybe they're pranking us again and like, trying to get us comfortable. Oh. When we first got to the island, we picked our dorms too, and it was me, Ivy, Corn, and Emma. They took me in. I remember I went up to her, I was like, "Can I room with you guys?"
Oh yeah, no, that was so awesome. I remember when we all first started, everyone started like flooding the island. I was like tweaking about getting our room. I was like, we have to get a room. We have to get a room. Like I wanted to explore everything, but I was like, us four have got to stick together. I was like, we've got to get a room.
Yeah, but that night was so fun. Like the high of going to a private island and just being here with like all the people you grew so close with. It was just what an experience for real.
I know. And then it was so fun at the dance party. Like, do you remember everybody teaching like different dances and stuff to each other? And then I remember, what was it, like the Cupid Shuffler? I was like, let me show you what I know. I was like, let me show you a thing or two.
And then, dude, I forgot how long the Cupid Shuffle is. I remember we kept going and going. We're like, all right,
my gosh.
all right, one more. The next day, we were sent back to the yacht. And what was the next challenge?
Was that the bocce ball?
Oh yeah, and like at first we couldn't watch it, or we might have watched it after it happened.
Yeah, something like that.
Because I remember it was like going on as we were like all getting on the yacht or whatever. After bocce ball was what
we had to vote someone off.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. So I felt like we all low key kind of knew it was coming because it's like, why do they keep bringing us back to the yacht to like just watch them on a screen when we could watch it on the big screen? Right. So once they told us we had to vote someone off, there was no one where anyone was like, that one makes the most sense. Like, it was mostly just, and this was like felt like I was living out my Survivor dreams.
No, I know, me too. Because we were also like at the island.
Yeah.
Like, so
cool. Okay, so I was like one of the first people to go down and like, hold it in front and put it down.
Oh, yeah.
But like, I didn't really know what to say because I'll tell you my vote. I don't know if it'll be in the show, but my reasoning behind it was I voted for Brennan because I knew it would basically be a burn vote because he had so many friends that no one's really going to vote for him.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to vote for Larrick because he was in my row in episode 1 and he's like such a nice guy. And then pretty much like I didn't really know Esteban.
Right.
And I didn't talk to Mia or who was the other?
I'm trying to remember his name.
Or,
it begins with a C, right?
Oh yeah. I don't remember.
Because that's the guy I voted for.
Yeah. I didn't know Timothy just because he won the same challenge as me, so I didn't want to vote for him either. So I did a burn vote on Brennan, and I remember like the next day. Actually, I'll save it for when that comes. But yeah, so and then when I just holded my vote, I just mouthed it. I was like, and then I put it in, and then I just dipped because awesome. I didn't know what to say.
Right. No, I remember I got so tweaked out during that, like when they were like, you have to vote someone off, because me and Esteban were close, and when we were like sitting on the yacht, I kept hearing different groups of people saying like, oh, I think I'm gonna vote Esteban, and I like would go up to them, I was like, did you say you're gonna vote Esteban? And they were like, yeah, I just like don't know him, and I was like, so what if you don't do that? Like, hear me out, like don't vote Esteban, and people were like, well, who should I vote for? And I'm like, let's see. Who's your friend? And then we like were narrowing it down. I was like, well, I think that's a good option. And I was just like trying to keep Esteban's name out of like out of the question. I was like, please don't vote Esteban. I was like I literally went to people and was like, please don't vote my friend out. I was like, please do not vote my friend. And so that was good. Esteban did not go home, and I was so hyped. Yeah. But no, I think I did the same thing. I was like, sorry, like I just don't know you well. Like when I voted, I was like,
yeah. And that's so Larrick ended up getting voted out, and I feel like the reason he got voted out was just because he was more like a reserved person. Like I feel like he didn't talk as much as like some of the other people on the island, and people didn't really know Larrick, so I really think there was no mission to like kind of vote him. It was just like, I don't really know him, and I feel like that was a lot of people's reasonings for whoever they voted for.
No, exactly.
So, yeah, and I felt so bad when they brought him around on the boat to like wave goodbye.
Oh, I know.
And he was like, why'd y'all vote for me? I was like, I didn't vote for you. I didn't vote for you.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry.
I know. That was so brutal.
Yeah. It's so awkward too, because that's just so awkward. So after that, did we stay on the yacht? Was that when Lil Yachty showed up?
The boat.
Because they did the...
Oh, no. No. I think we were on the boat when Lil Yachty showed up, right?
I can't remember.
I don't know. But
I guess it doesn't matter.
We saw like Lil Yachty pull up during the boxes challenge, and we were all like, what the...
Yeah, I was just like, why is Lil Yachty here?
And then we were like at our island, because I think they got in like a few minutes after us. Because I remember we got to the island, and then they were like, Jimmy's coming, and we were like,
oh yeah,
oh my gosh. And then I just remember so crystal clear, like Jimmy and like Mac and like Chandler, or I think Chandler was there too, I don't know. But then a group of them were just walking up the island, and Lil Yachty was like right behind them, and Lil Yachty was probably like 5 feet from me, and I turned to David and I was like, David, like, what's a Lil Yachty song? I was like, is 679 Lil Yachty? He was like, no. He's like, don't say that. And I was like, oh my gosh. And then Lil Yachty walked up and I was just like, I don't even know what to say. Like, I can't even think of one of his songs right now. But I was just like tweaking out. I was like, it was just MrBeast and Lil Yachty just standing there. It's like, hello. Like, on a private island, too.
Yeah. Like so
what?
random, too. Like, I would have never guessed, like, Lil Yachty would make an appearance. I remember, like, right before they were coming up, and, like, they told us that they were coming. Sam, the videographer, he was like, has anyone seen Lil Yachty in concert before? I was like, well, I have. And he's like, and then he turned the camera, he's like, so where did you see Lil Yachty? Where did you see him? I was like, well, he came to my college freshman year, and he actually signed my shoe, so no big deal. I like said something like that, and then so I was like, I already met this dude. Right. I'm not really that excited.
Yeah.
And then he was just chilling at the table. Like, I feel like no one was really talking to him. Yeah. Because everyone else was also just like kind of having fun on the island. Because before they came, like, we were in the ocean, like people playing volleyball, like cornhole, like everybody's just like enjoying their time.
But I remember, so like Carl and them would like try to mess with us because we didn't know what was going on in the world aside from what was happening to us. And what disease was it he was telling us about? It was like the chicken flu or something.
Like I think it was like monkeypox.
Monkeypox. Yeah, he's like, yeah, the monkeypox are like going crazy. Like you guys like don't know. And I remember we had like bug bites all over us, and I went to Carl and I was like, I got the monkeypox, and he was like, yo, and I was like, yo. But no, we said
there
bug
was
bites
actually a monkeypox outbreak though, and I remember.
Wait, for real? I thought he was joking.
No, because once I got out of the game, I remember I like saw a news thing about it, and some of it was like in Toronto. Yeah. I was like,
we were almost cooked.
Yeah.
I thought that was a complete joke.
No,
like I literally thought he was like monkeypox.
No.
Wait, what?
No. But that's what reminded me, because when Mac came up, I like showed him, I was like, dude, look at my bag, and I showed him all my bags. He was like, yo, that's not really good. I don't think that's really good. Oh, I also remember, so random, but I bought like a royal blue bathing suit with me, and it like perfectly matched the bucket hat, and I was like, I knew I was gonna make it here because I bought this bathing suit.
Right.
Like, it was so funny.
Dude.
And then we got into the conversation where Matt somehow it was brought up that we were gonna race in the ocean. And I was like, yeah, I'll race you. And then when he actually started walking to the ocean, I was like, yeah, I actually have to race him. And then we walked down and like met up with everyone else on the beach and stuff.
Yeah.
And that's when Mac was like, honestly, if you won, like, you would have a good storyline because of how many times you almost got out. And I was like,
right.
I know. Like, maybe,
oh my god,
maybe you should
give me the springtime.
Yeah, but yeah, because honestly, I want to like recap that real quick because I got really lucky in staying in the game.
Right.
Like, first in Vegas, I almost got out on the briefcases, and then floor 4 was eliminated and not eliminated. Yeah. And like I felt like so many people essentially sacrificed their own game, not just for me, but like it helped me move on, and like I was extremely lucky, especially, and the ball drop too. Yeah. Like I didn't have a strategy. So like crazy. I just got so lucky to get like that far in the game. So
the amount of sheer luck that happens in the game is so crazy.
Yeah. Like, because in reality, most of the challenges are chance or like, but most of them were chance, and like basically you make a decision if you want to take a bribe or not to like stay in the game. So yeah, it was. We got extremely lucky to make it to top 60 out of 2,000 people. Like, so it's still so crazy to think about. Yeah, after that, and I think they left like right after. Yeah,
they left pretty soon.
Yeah. And
then we did like another dance party and another movie night.
Yeah.
And then the next day we went back to the yacht.
Yeah.
And I remember at this point we were like, oh, we gotta go back to the yacht again. We're like, oh man, we have to spend more time there. And like we were like literally like tweaking about having to go to a yacht. We're like, bro. Yeah. And we're like, did we just hear like what came out of our mouths? Like, dude, we have to go to the yacht another day.
Yeah, like complaining about being on a yacht.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, but that night there was a terrible storm.
Yeah.
Right? Because this was the last day we went to the yacht. Yeah, so there was a really bad storm. Once we got to the yacht, the storm made the waters like essentially really rough.
Choppy.
Okay, like
also that night I'm like scared of storms, and I like accepted that we were gonna die that night because in our bungalow I was sitting there and like our bunk was right next to the window, and so we're there, and I was like, oh, so I'm just like gonna die. Like, it was like, the thunderstorm was so
loud.
bad.
It was really loud.
And I was like, well, this is just how it ends for me. Like, MrBeast, like, Panama, like
the island going underwater.
Yeah. I was, like, tweaking.
Yeah.
And then, I also, so they made a huge deal when we went to Panama about not drinking the water. They're like, do not brush your teeth with the water. Do not do this. And every night I'd be like talking to like Ava or like Emma or something, and I'd be like going to brush my teeth, and then I was like, crap. And I like look at them and I was like, I did it again. And I literally every single time I brush my teeth, I use the water and I forgot. And I was like, I can't believe I just did that again. And I was like literally tweaking out. I was like, I'm gonna like drop dead from something in Panama. Like, it was just so bad.
And we were all ended up fine.
Yeah.
So it was fine. But yeah, the final day we get on the yacht, the water's super choppy. And I remember the first thing we did was eat. And like, I felt fine at that point. But then after I ate, I was like, I am not feeling good at all. And I just started getting like really seasick. And I felt so dizzy. Like, if I was inside, like in one of the rooms, I literally felt like I was going to be throw up. So I ended up sitting, I think they were watching something because there was a challenge before, like they bought the winner back, I think.
Yeah, I know, because it was Esteban's. Because
shit.
Yeah, because I remember that day I was so seasick too. Like I was like inside and like everything was like shaking, and I was just so unwell, and I kept like putting like my head down and stuff, and Carl would be like, are you okay? Like, and I was like, yeah, I'm good. Like, I was just like so checked out. And then the producers kept like asking me questions. They're like, hey, can we like talk to you? And I was like, yeah, sure. And they'd be like asking me random questions. And I just remember I was like, man, everyone wants to talk to me about Esteban today. I was like, that's crazy. And so they'd be like, so like you and Esteban are close. And I was like, yeah, like we know each other for a while. Like I want him to win the island so he can come play the game with me again. And I just like everyone like kept asking me about him. And I was like, dang, we're like talking about Esteban a lot. And then they brought us inside to watch like the challenge. And I remember Carl like came up to the side of me and he was like, oh, so you would say like Esteban's like one of your best friends in the game. And I was like, oh, absolutely. I was like, and now he needs to win the island so he can come play with me. And then he was like, yeah, so you're really invested in Esteban like staying in the game. And I was like, yeah, like he needs to stay in the game. And then they like put on the challenge, and that's where Esteban won like 450K.
Yeah.
And I was like, they like had like the camera like right in my face, and I was like, that's why everyone wanted to talk to me about Esteban. Like that makes sense. And then they like brought him around like to like wave bye to all of us and everything. But no, it was crazy. He won that much money.
Yeah, that was crazy. I forget what there was like a certain order.
Yeah, it was like the order they picked on the Lil Yachty challenge. And so Esteban had chosen box number 1, and so then he got first pick if he wanted the bribe or not. And so he was like, yeah.
I mean, why wouldn't you take 450K? Like, that's crazy.
Right.
So at least he was happy with that. At least he got that.
No, I know. Like, good for him.
Yeah. So I was still seasick at this point. I was sitting outside. Right. They told me to stare at the horizon line, so I literally was ignoring everyone, just like staring off into the distance, like trying to feel better. And then eventually I took medicine. I forget what kind of medicine it was.
Dramamine?
Yeah, Dramamine.
Yeah, I was slamming that.
Yeah. And I became so drowsy, and at one point they like made us all go inside just so like we couldn't see what was happening on the outside, and I literally could not step foot inside.
Right.
And I told the producer, I was like, if you put me in there, like I don't know if I'm making it out here. So
oh my gosh.
So they let me sit outside, and then I fell asleep for like an hour on the chair, and then I woke up and I like just started having a conversation with Danny, and he was like, so tell me, like, who did you want to win? And I was like, well, listen, I didn't really have a preference because I didn't know anyone well, but Brennan, everyone on the boat loves Brennan. And so if you think about it logically, he's going to have a lot of friends in the game, and if it comes down to alliances, then
yeah, that's not good.
You don't really, I don't know if we want him to come back, right?
Right.
So, and I did not say it like that because I was so drowsy. It was like so mumbly, and then he's like, wait, can you say that to the camera? And I was like,
oh my gosh,
bro, like no way. And then they kept asking me questions, and I don't remember what I said. Like I was just, Sam was the videographer.
Oh, of course.
He saw me at my lowest. And then I guess going into episode 6, so
yeah. So I guess we'll see you in episode 6.
See you in episode 6. It gets a little spicy.
It's crazy.
All right, bye.
Bye.